right, Josh, we are back. We're back. It's been a while. It's been a while since Star Wars has put out a show. So I was excited. It came out a day early and everything. They wanted to compete with Monday
Yeah.
Night Football. So I watched Monday night. I did enjoy it. It lives up to the Goonies hype. So Josh, I know you watched today,
Mhm.
and you said you had a complaint.
I did.
And you're not a big complainer, so I'm kind of interested. I want to hear what the complaint is right out of the gate.
All right. I'll make this simple. With Dune, I'm sorry. Dune should not be movies. Dune needs to be an HBO show. There's too much going on in a 3-hour window. I get mentally exhausted halfway watching those movies, and I just quit. I did. I'm sorry, viewers. I only saw the first hour of Dune 2. I just couldn't take anymore. So because of that, I need more bite-sized, concentrated content from Dune, which they are attempting to do on HBO and crashing and burning. That show is getting awful reviews, so maybe I'm wrong. Skeleton Crew, right off the bat, Chorizy, this should be a movie. I don't know how this is going to carry for 8 episodes, but right off the bat, after watching the first episode, we're going to get into some slow parts, and I just feel like this would be more entertaining, and especially for kids, if this is aimed to be a kid show, to
See,
be a 2-hour movie.
They have said that this is a show with kids, but it is not a kids show. So we'll see. My thought there is, from what we've seen in the trailers and the way that Star Wars typically gives us information throughout these shows, like, I think what we've seen in all the trailers is like the first 4 episodes. I think that I think they're giving us a pretty big misdirect. I think there's a lot more going on here than just maybe the initial story that we're gonna see. So I'm kind of, if this is just all one long treasure hunt, I'm with you. We might be talking about something that's just a little too long. But I don't know that it is. So let's get into this a little bit. We start out at the beginning of the show, and there's a really cool pirate scene. I thought that was great. Like the big spikes going in the side of the ship, them taking over the ship, someone getting shot in the eye, a lot more violence than I would expected to, like, walking into this show. So I thought that was cool. But they get in there, so basically that group of people was defending nothing, just getting all shot up to defend nothing. So there's like a little bit of like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. The captain there is obviously Jude Law. I don't think anybody was like, you think that's Jude Law? It's obviously Jude Law, right? Like, so, but his crew gets in there, they mutiny because there's no credits. So I'm asking you, Josh, who got there first? Was it Hondo Ohnaka? Did he get in there? Was it Steve Urkel? I saw him in the background there. You see him in a little bit later too. Was it the Wolfman? Does he have nards? Like, who's involved here? Who's getting the credits that should have been there?
See, I've been wondering. I don't have any great guesses other than because of the timing of this show, right? This is the birth of the New Republic shortly after Return of the Jedi. Is it another Jedi hunting these pirates? Could it be someone like Ahsoka Tano?
I mean, stealing credits though. I mean, I feel like it could be. It could be Imperial Remnant for sure. Like the beginnings of the First Order. It could be.
I don't know if it's stealing credits. What if it's a trap, Chorizy?
Like something else was in this ship. The ship that they tried to tank was something else in there. There was like was it a prison break? You feeling like a prison break or something? Because it feels important.
I'm feeling a decoy.
Yeah, it feels important, right? To like this is going to come back in the show. I feel like I've stumped you here.
Watching that scene and them seeing just, you kind of did, because like they only left one credit, right?
Which is like a big
look
FU.
at that for this. Right. Like, I know you were searching for this ship, right? I knew that you had this ship targeted. So that's why I'm thinking this is a decoy. Like, this was always a decoy. And now I got you. Now, because this is going to be reported of pirates on this particular starship, I know your patterns. I know your crew. I know where you are hiding. So that's why I'm thinking it's like a Jedi or someone within the New Republic, maybe the Rangers of the New Republic, hunting these pirates. So that's why I'm going to say the starship is a decoy and the pirates are being hunted.
Okay. I like that. There's one other very effective pirate hunter out there. He just got back from Peridia. I don't think it's going to be him, but I got to mention my guy Thrawn. He's always a possibility when there's pirates. But no, I think that, to me, the thing that kind of leapt into my mind was that these pirates had already taken, like the pirates that are with Captain Silvo or whatever his name is at this time, that they had set this up. They had, like, someone within that crew had set this up. They already got the credits. Now they're just going and saying, we want to have a mutiny here, so this is how we're going to overthrow this guy. So that's kind of where I felt, and it feels like it could set up for later in the show. I like Jerry O'Sullivan's asking you if Carson Teva set them up. That would be fun. That was like the Rangers of the New Republic is what you were referring to. So we'll see.
Right.
But let's get into the kids a little bit, because that was, they are the focal point of this show. But what the hell's going on with this planet? This to me is the real mystery of the show, and I am so confused. When they got in the ship and like they get past whatever this green stuff is that's around their planet, and they see the stars and they're like, what are those? It was kind of like, holy shit, what's going on here? I'm confused. So Josh, where are you? What is this planet? Why is it the way it is? Why do they have credits from really long times ago? Why are there droids all over the place keeping them in line?
Yeah, that's crazy, especially after you watch the second episode. And this area is restricted, where the ship has been buried a long time. Now, I am not a geology major, nor a doctorate, anywhere close to a doctorate of geology. But that's significant landmass that has been covering up this starship. I'm imagining would take, I don't know, decades, if not centuries, for vegetation to grow over this starship and hide it. Again, I'm not a geology expert, but that seems pretty sketchy. And all the schools are droids, and they're making this big deal about the assessment, and the kids are picking incredibly boring jobs.
All for
many of us
the great
have found
work.
our way working some of these jobs just to. Yes. And the dad's always super busy doing absolute bullshit. As a middle-aged millennial now, I feel this dad's pain. So I guess I'm just dragging along here to say there are people who are, is it like the Matrix type of deal? Or, there was this really awful movie. Oh man, it's gonna drive me up the wall. The guy who did Unbreakable, the director, Six Senses.
Oh yeah.
Sixth Sense.
I'm Night Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan. He did this one movie in which you are to believe that it's like in the 1700s, and it's like this religious group of people being terrorized by this monster, and then you just find out, no, it's present day, and this covenant is sealed off in this like natural park. And I don't remember what the name of the movie is, but his blind daughter is able to get medication and know which way to run down the river creek in order to find modern civilization to save someone. I forgot what name. The Village. Thank you, Bigglesworth. The Village. Yes. Is this the Village of Star Wars? Meaning there are very high up people, Chorizy, that need human beings to do certain work, or these aliens or whatever the living population is. And whatever their work they're doing is so old, and they are sitting on a massive treasure that dates all the way back to the Old Republic.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're definitely cut off from the rest of civilization, right? Like the rest of the galaxy doesn't know they exist, or their existence is mythical to everyone else. They're obviously, yes, they referred to the barrier a few times, so they're obviously kind of locked down. They can't leave. It seems nothing can come in. They're all doing what they mention it a few times is like part of the great work, right? And it, to me, like at first it felt very nefarious, right? This felt like something like Count Dooku would do, or Palpatine would do, where he's hiding something that he wants to keep away from everybody, and he's like, I mean, think of the prison in Andor, right? Like the kind of in that vein of like, put this in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry about what it's doing, right? Like, and so I've heard some people saying like this is the like the people of the First Order, like the first group from the First Order, and they're basically building Starkiller Base, right? Like, so something like that. I think it's, if I'm looking at how things have kind of looked in a lot of these shows that have been coming out, and the way that we're supposed to, kind of view like, not that there's such a good and bad in this, but there's a gray area between. This feels like something that a Jedi did towards the end of like the around the Order 66 time, and like, is he's hiding a temple there or something, or they're hiding a temple there, and that's why like this, despite like not seeming to know anything else about the galaxy, having no credits that are from the same era of the rest of the galaxy, they do know about Jedi, and the Jedi are better than Sith, and the kids are out there impersonating them. So I have like this kind of thought, is this something that was like meant to be good and is actually very awful? Like, is that where we're going with this? Is this like something that was there? We're protecting you by cutting you off from everything forever.
That's a great question. And I think you are right, Chorizy. This is going to be the mystery for the rest of the show, is that these kids are looking for adventure. They are looking to get away from what is perceived to be a very boring life. And what's ahead of them is a very boring and not eventful life, but a very safe life that they have, living out in what is suburbia. We could just call it that. And now that they have ran into pirates and they have ran into a Jedi, the dangers of going back home, and I wonder, when they contemplate that, they're just too young to make that decision. But if you're an adult, you would have to wonder, who's following me. If I go back home and this planet's supposed to be a secret, I can be creating a lot more trouble that I'm already in by running away from home.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big thing here. Is like, I think that's why I think that maybe they find their way home quicker than we're meant to think when we're watching this show. In them bringing home a bunch of pirates is going to be bad for the whole situation. In maybe it starts to unveil truths to these kids once they get back, and there's not just them there. There's people from outside the galaxy that are now seeing their planet, seeing what's going on there. Do we find out what happened to Wim's mom? Do we find out, what is going on this planet in general? Is there really a treasure here, or is it something else that's being hidden? So I think that there's a lot to unpack there. I think we're going to, I think that's like end of the season. We're going to really kind of find out some of these things. This is meant to be a 1-season show. And I actually heard someone say something really funny about that. They're like, you can't really make a multi-season show nowadays like this one with the kids, because they're going to be like 20 by the time the next season comes out. So like there's no like multi-season with kids this young. So I think that this is meant to be a 1-season show. I think they get back pretty soon. I don't think it's going to take them that long to get back. They're going to come back with this guy though. So Jad Nawood.
Is that really his name?
Terrible name. This is what he's been listed as. I hope they don't stick with that. But
that can't be it.
He's obviously Captain Silvo from the beginning, or at least they're gonna. If he's not Captain Silvo, this is the biggest misdirect that they've ever got me with. So it should be the same character as far as we could tell. He's locked up now because he was mutinied. I guess they left him alive. It seems like a dangerous thing to leave this guy alive, especially if he's force sensitive. But Josh, who is this guy? What's he going to be in the show? Is he going to be a good guy, a bad guy, something in between?
Yeah, it's weird because what they are pitching with this show, because we've had so much Star Wars content that's post Order 66, and how we've learned about how Obi-Wan Kenobi went into hiding at Tatooine, what Ahsoka did, what Yoda did, and then through the Obi-Wan Kenobi returning for that season, the Inquisitors continue to find the exiled Jedi and hunt them down. Instead of hiding, what if some Jedi went into out of the attention of the Empire? Because would the Empire ever think of looking through the criminal underworld for Jedi? Probably not.
Yeah,
so
I like that. It reminds me, if you read the, I think it's the New Dawn. Is it New Dawn? I forget which. Yeah, I think it's the New Dawn. It's basically a Caleb
book behind you.
Caleb Doom story. No, it's Caleb Doom's story between leaving, between Order 66 and where we find him in Rebels, and he's just kind of he works basically like in a mine, and he's a drunk, and like he's just kind of like just basically out in the middle of nowhere, avoiding everything, not letting anyone on to the fact that he's a Jedi. And like I could see that if you're you go out and go into kind of the unknown regions as a pirate, it's a great hiding place. You wear a helmet all the time, and you just do pirate stuff. And like if you happen to use the Force during that, it's so wild and everything's going so crazy that no one's probably going to really notice. So I think that might be what he's been doing. And I definitely think that he is going to help the kids get out of there but only because he thinks that whatever planet they're from, this Aten, is like this massive treasure that like no one knows about, and so definitely wants to help them find their way home. Definitely wants a piece of that treasure. It's very Treasure Island, very Pirates of the Caribbean. Just a probably going to be a likable character.
That's what I was going to say.
But also is he's probably a piece of shit. So I think it's gonna be a fun ride with him. But yeah, I think that's kind of where he might go, and I'm gonna guess too, like that pulling the key is like the extent of his force use. Like he is not going to be impressive with the force at all in this show. So I think that's another thing to think about.
Maybe like Grogu, do that hand thing.
Yeah, he's definitely. So John, I think we're on the same page. He's gonna be a likable. He's gonna be a charismatic character. I think the kids are gonna be charmed by him. I think at least one of the kids will catch on that he's not the guy we should be working with. I'm gonna guess that's gonna be. I think it's KB is the girl with the LeVar Burton visor. Like I kind of feel like she's gonna have some importance in the show. And like, I will say one thing: if anything happens to Neil, I'm gonna call the police. It just can't. I don't even want to see him like cuffed. I don't want to see him tied up. I like Neil has to be okay. Like that's all we get out of this show. I'm fine. I love Neil. I'll do anything to protect him. All right, Josh, let's get into some very early predictions. We're only 2 episodes into this. We've seen a little bit. We have a lot of questions. Early predictions.
Yeah.
Anything that's going to happen in the show that's going to be wild, or anyone that might show up, something like that.
I think Jod gets sick of Wim's shit and cuts his head off with the lightsaber that he finds.
I don't know that I would. I don't know that I would hate it.
As much as you love Nell or Neil, Wim can die. Like I'm already sick and tired of this kid. He could die.
You need that kind of kid though. You need the kid who's like just head in the clouds, adventure kid for something like this. And like I think the older and more jaded we get, we're more like Wim's father, and we're like, enough of this shit.
Right. Why do you suck? God.
Like one thing I did think about, as much as I love Neil, what if his family, his species, because like I've never seen them before. We've not seen this in. He's not the Max Rebo species. They're different. What if they're the ones behind all of this? Like the sweetest kid. His family's at home watching the Christmas special from Star Wars that the Wookiees were watching in the Star Wars Christmas special. Like they're the sweetest family, but they are behind everything and they're absolutely evil. Like that would be a beautiful twist. I would be in for that.
Yeah, let's do it.
I will throw. I see.
Let's
Jeff
have Neil kill Wim.
Jeff in the comments says, "Give me Hondo or get the fuck out." And now, so nerding out, watching some stuff on this. There was supposedly, if you look close, when they go to the pirate planet, Hondo's ship is apparently there. Like people have been spotting it, saying that's Hondo's ship. So, Josh, will we get Hondo Ohnaka in this show?
God, that would warm my heart. He's one of the best characters, especially from Rebels and Clone Wars. He's in the Millennium Falcon ride, and so many people are like, "Who in the hell is this guy?" Yeah, I think it's time. Like, it'd be great if Hondo does appear in this show. Like, I'd be super ecstatic. I'd be in more love with Hondo if he took his blaster and shot Wim in the face, ending that character. Hondo would just be, he'd be right there with me for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, best Star Wars characters ever. I don't know if you can tell. I really do not like Wim. Like, don't care about Wim.
You're showing it a little bit. I think I'm catching on just a little bit that you're not a fan of Wim. I will say I also think that, like, in terms of like big reveals of the show, I hope we do not get any Jedi, like any known Jedi. I hope we don't really get anyone from the Mando, like. I know this is part of the Mandoverse, but I really like, if we're getting anyone from that, it better be like a really minor character. Like, I want to keep the, like, I know we got the pirate that was like attacking Navarro. He's in this. He's one of the guys. But like, that should be it. I don't really want a lot more of that. So I'm hopeful that we stay away from that. I do hope though that, like, whatever is on this planet is not a treasure. Like, I get it would be a great Goonies style thing. It would be Han and the Lost Legacy book style. I think that's like Zim the Despot. It's a very similar story. I get that those would be fun, but like, I really want there to be a twist there, that like, there's not a treasure there. The real treasure is something else, right? Like, maybe it's like, maybe it is the start of the First Order, and it's like a whole bunch of kyber crystals are on this planet, and that's how they power up the Starkiller base, right? Like something like that. That to me is more, and then it would make the little mines joke at the beginning of like, oh, you're gonna have to go work the mines. It would make that a lot cooler. So like, that's where I'm going. I don't want it to be treasure. Or they find treasure somewhere, and that's not really, that's like kind of a, just a fake out or something, a little bit of twist. So that's kind of where I'm at. How about you, Josh? Is there anything that you really, really want to see, or anything that you really, really don't want to see in the show?
I do not want to see Wim survive. I don't want Wim to wield a lightsaber. So
let me ask you a question there. If we find out he's force sensitive, let's say episode 4, we find out that he's force sensitive. God. Are we doing any episode? Am I doing this show solo for the rest of this?
Yeah. God, I'd roll my eyes and be like, great, now he's important. Now I have to care. I do love your idea that this is a hidden kyber crystal mine. And I do love this idea of just the irony of a show where it starts off so of their planet, where they are. It's not part of any star system. It's part of a myth with Jedi. That this is the launch of the return of the Empire, the First Order. I secretly love that. I hope that ends up being the case.
It would be great. It would be great if we went from like, this is like this like coming of age story to this is the worst thing possible that could happen for the galaxy. Like, I think that would be a great twist. And I think that's where we'll leave it for you for this week. We'll be back next week. We're gonna try and do this. We're gonna try and keep a good schedule this time. I know last few times we've been all over the place, but Wednesday at 8 every week we're gonna try and do this. So we will see you next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central. Until then, have fun, and of course the From the 108 podcast will be live tomorrow night. We'll see you there. Have a good night, everybody.